Hey, Rustin.
Hey, how you doing, Mike? How's everything in your world?
Oh, it's good, thank you. And how about you?
Absolutely wonderful. I'm excited to get a chance to talk with you after all these years. First off, welcome back to the church. You were greatly missed.
Oh, thank you very much. It's good to be back.
So before we chat about the new record, I want to thank you guys for keeping Metal Church going. The music industry is hardly profitable, and for metal in particular, and the fact that you guys are willing to invest your time and effort into creating new music for fans is huge. It means a lot.
Well, thank you very much, and I have to say that it repays in tenfold back from the fans and people like you, Rustin, and it's what really makes it all worthwhile.
Well, we do appreciate it. So I have my own thoughts about Damned If You Do. Tell us about the new record from your perspective.
Well, we approach each record the same way when we go into the writing mode, and we just hope for the best. But having said that, we go in with, joy and just having the best time we possibly can doing that in the creative process. Kurt and I get together, and we have this really great chemistry between us that we've always had. And when we go in to write music, we just go in to have fun. And whatever comes out of us, if we enjoy it and it makes us feel good and, makes us rock hard, then it's something we keep. And if we don't, then it's something we cast aside. And I think that Damned If You Do is a reflection of that, process and how we enjoy what we do, and it shows through. And this time around, I believe we rocked it a little harder. I think Kurt came up with some riffs that were just incredibly heavy and awesome, as he usually does, but this time with a little bit more edge to them. And, we're just happy the way it came out. We don't try to overthink what we do. We just try to feel it and let it flow and see how it comes out. And we're very happy with the end results.
I was going to say the two latest albums, 11 and Damned If You Do, in my opinion, are among Metal Church's best works. So, which is really saying something,
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Riff for riff, song for song, they're right there with your best records. But as you sort of alluded to, every album that you make sort of is a snapshot of where you guys are at in a given place and time. Now that you've been back with the band for a little bit, you've done an album and everything. Did that play into it at all, that comfort of getting back to it?
Yes, I think so. Absolutely. That, the cohesiveness of the band and our relationship, Kurt and I together, just took it one step further of more comfort, and, oh yeah, we did it and it worked out great. So let's do it again and see what happens. So I think that does help. And, the sophomore release of my re-return was a lot of fun doing. But at the same time, when we enter into it, we always say if this product isn't equal or better than the last, then this may be it. So that's how we go into it. We want to have product that we're really proud of, and like I said before, putting the joy into it as we're doing it, and not really pressuring ourselves, but just feeling the music and hearing it the way that we want to hear it is part of that process. And we feel that we came out with something that we're proud of and happy to take on the road and share with the fans.
Right, heart and soul, having some fun with it. Now, to my ear, it's a heavier and perhaps more aggressive than the previous one. This is Stet Howland's first record with the band. Maybe he had an impact on some of that? Yeah,
maybe he did. I don't know if you're aware, and if your listeners are aware, but when we got off the road from our last final tours, we found out that he had cancer, and so that was a big blow, but he went into treatment, and he came out on the other end cancer-free, and we were very happy and grateful for that. And maybe he brought some of that, gratitude into his playing and just the joy of being alive. But whatever it was, he did an awesome job, and everyone, responded, I think, in their playing and their passion. All the players in the band really put some passion into this album, I think. And I think you can hear it and feel it. I know I can when I listen to it. So it's really an awesome thing.
Now, you and Kurt, as you sort of alluded to, have a fantastic songwriting partnership, and it's always been pretty organic and spontaneous, especially from your side. Tell us a bit about how that works with you two.
So when we get into, this is the new cycle of record touring. We're in the record phase here. Kurt puts on his mad scientist metal brain, and he locks himself in his studio, and he just does what he does. He gets in front of his console and plugs in his guitar and starts writing, drum tracks and rhythms, and he puts together songs, outlines of complete type songs, and sends them to me, and I listen to them and get inspired. And when he gets like a handful or so done, I come up to his house and we start working on those, and he'll throw a microphone up and sit at the console and ask me what song I want to start with, and I'll say, I really am digging this song, let's start with this one, and I'll just start opening up my mouth and start screaming out and trying to get some melodies, and sometimes lyrics come out that are cool and we keep them, and sometimes dumb lyrics come out but we keep them because of the phrasing and we like it, and then we replace them later, and basically that's how we do it. And we, with the advent of technology and the computers, we can almost do like a post-production work as we're writing, because you can cut and paste digitally to say, oh, this part is working great, but it doesn't transition to that, so maybe we can cut this part out and move this part around. So that's a whole new aspect of writing and recording that we didn't do in the past, or we didn't have that quick accessibility to, which is really a helpful writing tool. So that's basically how we do it.
Speaking of which, the first song that I got to hear was the title track. How'd you guys come up with the idea for that hum intro on that? Because it's a crushing song without it, but that just adds this dynamic element to it. It's like heavy metal yoga.
Yeah, well, hey, you just said it, because I do practice yoga, and I've talked to Kurt for a while how I wanted to incorporate some sort of chant, or into a song. And this time around I said, well, I heard that riff and I was like, hey, why don't I just try a little hum in here and see what we could do. And it was just one of those, creative songwriting moments where you got lucky and it worked out, and we inserted it and said, that just kicked that song up a notch for us. So we really we're happy with it, and that's basically how it happened.
It really did. So now I know there's no lyrical theme or concept for the record, but looking at some of the song titles, Out of Balance, The Black Things, Rot Away, Revolution Underway, and whatnot, when you're looking at what's going on in this country right now, the world, in fact, were there heavy topics weighing on your guys' mind?
Oh, always. I mean, we're adults with, a conscience and an opinion, about the way things are in the world. And so heavy metal is a great vehicle to get frustrations out. And that's always what we've done and how we've pursued our lyrics and, and our message. But, we also want to be a little nebulous and vague, and so that people can use these lyrics to interpret their own life and use them in their own life to get their frustrations out, because that's what I believe metal is just a release of frustrations and anger in a healthy way, a healthy way to say F you, to this and to that, and get it out in a healthy setting, and hopefully a little bit of therapy out of that. I know I get it.
Headbanging catharsism. So.
yeah, exactly. So,
We don't have time, obviously, to talk about all the tracks on the album. I got to tell you, By the Number's been stuck in my cranium for weeks now, so thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Mine too, for 2 years almost now.
So, but there are a couple of tracks that I did want to ask you about that are also some of my favorites that aren't the singles. Black Things and Rot Away. Tell me a little bit about those, if you would.
Well, Black Things is one of those magical songs that late in the game, like on a lot of records, just happens to fall in our laps, It's like we're down to the wire, we've got a lot of songs, and Kurt Vanderhoof just goes into his studio and goes, okay, well, I have one more idea, and he throws it out, and he throws it at me, and I go, wow, that's amazing, and that's just one more song that adds to the record. So that one came purely from Kurt Vanderhoof, the master, and yeah, I really like it a lot. And then Rot Away was something we worked on from the beginning, and it was just a lyric, the seed you've planted will, rot away. That's just something that came out of my mouth, spontaneously while we were screaming into the microphone in anger. and that stuck. So, basically that's it. We don't have any secret formula or anything. It's just how we go about it, and when inspiration hits, and you take what you get and you slap each other high fives when you think you're really loving something, and you move on. Or if it's not going so well, you go, okay, we're not going to beat this into the ground, and we're going to move on, and that's just not working.
Was there a song on the album that you guys sort of struggled with, and you were sort of at that point of maybe throwing it away, and then something kicked in and it sort of just changed the whole thing for you?
No, I don't think so. I think that we're pretty clear on what we like and what we don't like, and what rocks us and what doesn't rock us. So I think once we get down to the nitty-gritty at the end, where we've had, we have 16, 18 songs roughed out, we pretty much, together know which ones we like and are going to make the album. It's not that hard for us.
Well, it's a fantastic record, and not only is 2019 dialing up to be a big year for you guys, but it also marks the 30th anniversary of your debut with the band, Blessing in Disguise. Do you guys have any plans to sort of celebrate that in any way? Maybe play some extra cuts from that record on the next tour, or is it just, it's there and we'll play what we play?
I think we have some things up our sleeve, which I can't say right now, but as far as playing more Blessing in Disguise things, I'm not so sure. I'm not really, I tell this to everybody, I'm not really nostalgic. I think it's awesome that 30 years ago, that great, we were lucky to have that great CD come out, and but I'm not a guy that looks to the past a lot. I want to live in the moment, in the near future, and just revel in the love and in the songs of today. And Damned If You Do is the record of now, and I'm really enjoying that and wanting to get out there and play it. I'm really itching for it to come out next week, and so everyone can hear it. So. So I guess the answer is no, we really don't have anything special planned, but there's one thing is, but I can't say that right now.
Right. So what are your memories of making that first album with the band?
Well, it was a whirlwind, because they had written 99% of the music already, and it was ready to go, and they were just looking for a singer. And so when I came in, like Badlands was one of those songs that was late in the game, like I just said about the Black Things, and where I was involved in, and I co-wrote Badlands with them, and it went on the record, and turned out to be what it was. And so that was exciting. But I just remember being holed up in a studio in Philadelphia, outside of Philadelphia, for a month straight, living with the guys and going to a studio, every day for 30 days in a row, and just tracking, and it was very exciting. And then once we finished the album, it was on the road, and we were on the road for a year or more, just constantly. When we're young, we just get on a bus and started touring. So it was very exciting, but it was a big whirlwind and quite the blur, actually.
Awesome, Mike. Thanks so much for taking some time. Before we get out of here, one final question just for fun. The new album is so fantastic. Is there one particular song on the album you're most looking forward to playing on stage?
Yes, I am, and that would be Damned If You Do. It would be my dream come true if I could get a mass crowd of heavy metal fans all humming in unison as one big spiritual metal get together. So that is my hope and dream and goal for this coming touring season. So we'll see how that pans out.
Awesome. Mike, again, thank you so much for taking the time, and hopefully we'll catch you again soon.
Rustin, thank you very much. I appreciate what you do and the support of our band.